So there was a real ugly chapter in this country. It was when this guy was running around saying everybody was a traitor to America and that there was you're a Russian, you're a Russian commie sympathizer, and it was called McCarthyism. Well, it's back, baby, and it's been back for a while, but it's really in overdrive right now. Anybody who goes against establishment narrative about war or regime change wars or coups that we support, if you go against the government narrative, you will be immediately smeared as a Russian puppet, a traitor, and the establishment media is going right along with it, like they did back then. So here's a woman, her name is Raina Kalek.
Friend of the show.
She does this cool thing called In the Now, if you've seen those. Those are those little videos that they explain stuff to you. And she also does this podcast, Unauthorized Disclosure. And I think at some point she worked for RT. I guess she worked for RT at some point. You know who else works for RT? Larry King. That Russian puppet, Larry King. And Jesse Ventura.
Ed Schultz did.
Ed Schultz. Okay.
She's done op-eds for RT, certainly.
Oh, she's done op-eds for them. Okay. So she's not employed by them. She's done op-eds for them. Okay. So when it comes to this Venezuela thing, she said something pretty good. She said that leading Democrats are backing the Trump administration's right-wing coup in Venezuela. Now would be a good time to hear some opposition to this blatant American meddling. And she tweeted that out, and Ro Khanna retweeted it. Ro Khanna, who's a friend of the show also, he said, let me get this straight. The United States is sanctioning Venezuela for their lack of democracy, but not Saudi Arabia? Such hypocrisy. Maduro's policies are bad at not helping his people, but crippling sanctions or pushing for regime change will only make the situation worse. Now, that makes sense to everybody here at this show. And then this guy says, looks like Dana Rohrabacher has been replaced already. Here is a U.S. representative tweeting an employee of Russian state media on Venezuela and a notorious pro-Assad apologist. This is a freaking congressman. They're literally doing this. They're doing this again. They're literally saying somehow Ro Khanna is an enemy of the United States, and he somehow secretly sympathizes with Russia. That's what this guy's saying. This is a grown, again, these are doing this in public. Like, this isn't, to me, this is the equivalent of Trump in public going, you grab him by the pussy, like not being embarrassed about it. That's what this is worse than that. Because isn't this kind of mind-blowing?
You read, but you should read Ro Khanna's tweet, because once you read it, you just go crazy. Because you go, this is so like a wacky world. How did you arrive at this?
So he tweets out a thing about us stopping doing intervention. He's like, oh, you're a Russian. That's what happened.
He questions the hypocrisy of not looking at Saudi Arabia.
I know.
You know what I wish? I wish somehow, some way, all across the country, there could just be free screenings of Good Night and Good Luck. Mm-hmm. Just everywhere across the country right now.
You don't think
just, if you haven't seen it, just go see it, just watch it, and just think about what's going on right now.
And if you've ever, and again, I guess like these people never read Manufacturing Consent.
Mm-hmm.
They've never seen Good Night and Good Luck.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ro Khanna said, I guess McCarthyism didn't end in 1954. The comparison to Rohrabacher, who I campaigned to defeat, is absurd. I have strongly supported the investigation into Russian meddling, stood up for Mueller, voted for sanctions on Russia, and recently on Assad. So he has to come back and prove he's not a traitor. Look, I did all this other stuff. This is a sitting congressperson. Like right out in the open. And that's not some right-wing maniac, right? It's a maniac. But look where he works. CNN. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And he won't lose his job. And of course, Daily Beast. Doesn't Chelsea Clinton sit on the board of the Daily Beast?
Yes.
Okay. The Clintons never met a foreign intervention they didn't like, right? They did Libya. She did Libya. That's a nice Daily Beast in Libya. This is really happening. Look at that guy's got 112,000 followers. Isn't that mind blowing? This guy, and that's like just right out in the open, like you just do the most disgusting thing right in public. Like I say, that you're supposed to sneakily smear people. He just does it right out in the open. There's no price to pay. How many times have we told you? When you lie and smear at the behest of the establishment, there's never a price to pay. So he's doing this he's smearing people at the behest of the neoliberal establishment that wants to do a right-wing coup in Venezuela because they got oil, baby. Just like he's for the Syrian war. Just like he's for ISIS and al-Nusra in Syria to overthrow Assad. Who do you think's fighting Assad? And then here's what Glenn Greenwald says. Yesterday, Ro Khanna became the first and I believe only member of Congress. He's not. Minnesota's 5th Congressional District as a Muslim representative. She's against it. Yesterday, Ro Khanna became the first and I believe only member of Congress. Also, Tulsi Gabbard is against it. That's at least 3 I know of. Yesterday, Ro Khanna became the first and maybe 3 members of Congress to question the wisdom of Trump's decree of who rules Venezuela. So he's instantly smeared as, you'll never guess, a Russian asset by CNN contributor. Don't call it McCarthyism. This is really like right out in the open. Like I always make that jump. Like I always, for some reason, I always think that their parents would be embarrassed. Like I always think like her mom is like, oh, I lived through the Red Scare. Why are you doing? How did I raise a guy to do that? Be a red baiter?
Hey,
that's like what Nixon did.
Don't call it McCarthyism. Call it a comeback.
Ha ha. That's just mind blowing. And here's a guy from Think Progress. His name is Casey Michael. Think Progress. I used to think that was a liberal, but liberals are now war hawks. They're war hawks now, and they'll lie and smear to do it. He tweeted that out. Hey, Ro Khanna's Spox tells me he wasn't aware that Raina Kalik works for a Russian propaganda outlet when he tweeted it. What is wrong with these people? Then Ben Norton tweets this out. Ben Norton tweets, don't forget that McCarthyite neocon Michael Weiss, who staunchly supported the illegal war on Iraq,
nice,
once held an anti-Muslim rally with far-right Trump-supporting hate-monger Pamela Geller. His life mission is smearing and attacking the anti-war left.
Mic dropped.
Wow. Held an anti-Muslim rally with that Pamela Geller. Wow. Now we know who that guy is. Michael Weiss. And now back to this other guy, Casey Michael. He did it again. Ro Khanna just retweeted Ben Norton, whom RT described as a contributor a few months ago. This never stops. This is laughable, right? It would be even more laughable if there was ever a punishment for this kind of stuff, but there isn't.
And Casey, do not check under your bed. Some of us are under there. I'm warning you now.
McCarthyite Michael smears anti-war voices on behalf of the Democrat Party Potemkin Village, funded by the United Arab Emirates. Is on an advisory council of the Hudson Institute, a pro-war outfit named in his own employer's report on Islamophobia, and works with neocon Venezuelan oligarch Thor Halvorsen. We ordered Thor Halvorsen's kid, Thor Halvorsen Mendoza. And there it is. There it is. Casey Michael. Ro Khanna. So this guy, look at this guy. I mean, this could be, and he outs them. It's not hard to out who these people are, where their money comes from, who they're working with, and who their mouthpieces for. It's not hard. He's on an advisory council of the Hudson Institute, which is a pro-war outfit, named in his own employer's report on Islamophobia. Okay. It's not stopping. Oh, by the way, here, and then Michael Rice says, I wrote to Ro Khanna's office asking why the congressman was also deferring to Ben Norton, an insecure twit blogger. Again, this is like this is, you want to be, there's never, who believes that the Syrian civil defense, so Ben, he's saying Ben Norton believes that the Syrian civil defense, you know who that is, Syrian civil defense? That's the white helmets. Believes that the white helmets are Al-Qaeda. The white helmets are Al-Qaeda. They've been outed over and over and over again by actual journalists, not people who are compromised like you. Wow. This is the price you pay for going against war. This is it. They have all these hacks, paid for hacks come at you hard like that. But people know who, I mean, it's just these guys are jokes. CNN's a joke. That's why we have a show. That's why we sell out theaters. That's why people want to watch the show. That's why we have 500,000 subscribers. That's why we get 8 million views a month. Why? Because these guys suck. Because CNN sucks. Because MSNBC sucks. New York Times and Washington Post is pushing for a right-wing coup right now. They're pushing for more war in Syria, more war in Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq. They push every war everywhere all the time. And if you go against the war machine, this is what happens to you. That you're a Russian. This is what's happening. This is literally what's happening. We're announcing our live dates for 2019. We're going to Chicago and Portland, Seattle, New York, all over the country. Go to jimmydorcomedy.com for a link for all our tickets to all our shows. It'll be right underneath there, too. Please become a patron if you like our content and help support the show. You can become a patron for $5 a month, and we give you hours of bonus material. And make sure you're subscribed. They unsubscribe people every day. I'm not kidding. Make sure you're subscribed and click that bell so they give you a notice when we drop a video. It's the only thing we can do to fight back against the bastards. Thanks for your support.